There are moments in life so powerful that they feel far beyond coincidence. That first glance, both familiar and intense, carries the strange sense that your soul has known theirs from somewhere outside of time. When an empath encounters a narcissist, it is more than a relationship. It is a clash between light and shadow, between a heart that feels deeply and an ego that fears feeling at all. At the beginning, everything seems like a destined love story. The empath believes they have found a soulmate, someone meant to grow and heal alongside them. Meanwhile, the narcissist feels they have discovered the perfect mirror, a place where their image is admired, reflected, and elevated to the center of everything. Both perceptions hold truth, but for entirely different reasons. Beneath the attraction, the passion, and the chaos lies a soul agreement, a pact formed long before either entered this lifetime. In that agreement, the empath carries the light, while the narcissist holds the shadow, so that each may reflect, awaken, and confront their deepest truths. Yet few realize this. When the narcissist breaks that contract through betrayal, silence, or denial, it is not only love that falls apart. A piece of your soul splits open with it. A universe begins to shift. Reality rearranges itself. And you, the one left behind, are thrust into a painful yet sacred path. The path Carl Jung called individuation, the rebirth of the soul through darkness. So the real question is not why they left, but who the universe is calling you to become after they are gone. From the very first instant, the empath's soul and the narcissist's soul meet in an unseen space, where time seems suspended and the line between destiny and choice blurs. The feeling is unlike any ordinary encounter. It is as though two ancient currents of energy have reunited after lifetimes apart. In this connection, every touch, every glance, every word feels weighted with an old promise, a contract sealed in the realm of spirit before either entered the physical world. The empath feels they have finally arrived home. The narcissist believes they have found a place to exist endlessly in another's glow. Yet beneath this mystical surface, a quiet paradox forms. When light and shadow meet, they do not blend. The shadow tries to claim the light to avoid facing itself. Energetically, this is where their frequencies begin to separate. The empath's heart expands, receiving and giving, while the narcissist's soul tightens, absorbing and taking. The bond is not merely emotional or physical. It is energetic. Boundaries blur as the narcissist draws from the empath's light like a starving presence. In the early stages, everything feels divinely arranged. Signs align. Moments feel enchanted. The empath believes this love is a doorway to awakening. In reality, it is a false awakening where the soul is stirred not by true love, but by the illusion of it. The narcissist does not truly see your soul. They see only their reflection shining through your light, a light they desire yet cannot create within themselves. Then, as if reenacting an ancient pattern, the energy shifts. When your light no longer fills their inner emptiness, the shadow emerges. Idealization turns into control. Praise becomes jealousy. Intimacy transforms into fear. The narcissist cannot tolerate such brightness because it reveals the darkness they have long concealed. Gradually, they withdraw coldly, quietly, without emotion. There is no dramatic ending, no clear farewell, only an invisible cord stretched until it finally breaks. The breaking of a contract does not occur outwardly, but within. It is a subtle change in the energetic field, the dissonance of two souls that once vibrated together. For the empath, it feels like glass shattering in your chest, silent yet endlessly echoing. No words are spoken, yet a violent pull leaves you unsteady, as if part of your essence has been torn away. This is the moment the universe witnesses a betrayal of light, when a soul refuses the awakening meant for it. When the narcissist leaves, they believe the story is finished. For the empath, it marks the beginning of a spiritual quake. Ordinary relationships touch the heart, soul contracts root themselves in the energetic body. When that root is torn out, your entire field begins to reorganize, and the universe, in its vast intelligence, never allows a sacred rupture without purpose. Every tremor, every ache becomes an opening. The first shift distorts your sense of time. Life feels out of rhythm. Time loses its straight line. Memories and premonitions blur together. Dreams intensify, filled with symbols, oceans, shattered mirrors, empty rooms, light consumed by dark spirals. These are not random images. They are messages from the collective unconscious, what Jung described as signs that the soul is restructuring. You may feel caught between two realities, the physical world, where they are absent, and the soul realm, where the connection is still unraveling. Then comes emotional and energetic turmoil. Your feelings no longer belong to a single moment. They swing between love, anger, guilt, and numbness. At times, the sadness does not even feel like yours. Fragments of their energy may still cling to your field, unwilling to release a bond they consciously rejected. On a deeper level, you sense their soul, resisting the lesson the universe insists they face. They may run from you, but they can escape themselves. And you, once the reflection they relied on, become the quiet observer of their inner unraveling. In this stage, it feels as though the universe presses pause. Plans fall apart. Connections feel misaligned. Opportunities appear at inconvenient moments. This is not a punishment, it is protection. Your soul is being rewired, like a house carefully taken apart before it can be rebuilt. If you feel disoriented, it is because the old map no longer fits the terrain. Mm. You are being invited into a higher awareness where truth must be felt through the soul, not analyzed by the mind. Carl Jung once suggested that when the conscious mind reaches its limit, the unconscious takes over to complete the process. That is what is unfolding within you. The unconscious does not seek destruction, it seeks transformation. Every pain, when witnessed with presence, carries its own wisdom. In those long nights, when you feel as though you are breaking, your soul is shedding an outdated skin, the skin of someone who confused compassion with self-abandonment, who lived to please at their own expense. Mendy, the breaking of a soul contract can also trigger what feels like reverse synchronicity. Signs appear that seem meaningful, repeating numbers, familiar symbols, songs tied to shared memories. Not because the universe is urging you back, but because the energy of the old bond is dissolving and sending its final echoes. Do not romanticize these moments. Interpret them with awareness. The universe is clearing space for the next chapter of your evolution. During this time, your energetic field may contract to preserve strength, then slowly expand again. You may feel alone, detached, unable to find joy in what once inspired you. This is the Necredo stage described by alchemists and by Carl Jung, the dark phase where everything outdated must burn away before rebirth. There is no shortcut and no miracle cure, only the bravery to sit in the darkness and trust that light is quietly forming within. And then one day, a surprising realization dawns. They did not truly break the contract. They fulfilled their role. Even if their conscious mind, their soul still served. as an instrument the universe used to teach you resilience, sovereignty, and how to love without losing yourself. When this understanding arrives, your energy shifts. Mhm. Instead of asking, why did they do this? You begin to ask, what part of me is this experience liberating? In that moment, the contract completes, not through their return, but through your rebirth. Once your soul accepts the rupture, a new alignment emerges. Your energy and the universe begin to synchronize again. New people enter your life, fresh opportunities unfold, and meaningful coincidences arise with healing intent. These synchronicities are no longer shaped by their shadow, but by your renewed path. You realize their departure did not remove love, it redirected love back to its rightful home within you. When the old agreement dissolves, it is not love that disappears, but the illusion of it. And from the ashes of that illusion, your soul begins to shine, not to illuminate another, but to guide your own way. In quiet moments, the empath may still sense a lingering presence, a familiar energy passing through, a nameless emotion, a cool current moving across the chest. They do not call, yet you hear them. They do not reach out, yet you feel them. Feel them. This bond exists not in thought, but in the energetic field, where your souls once resonated deeply, even if their conscious mind denies it. The deepest layer of their being may still send faint signals from the shadows. Because empaths are attuned to subtle frequencies, they perceive what is never spoken. They feel fears that were never confessed. This stage can be the most confusing, making it seem as though the universe is calling you back. In truth, it is not an invitation to reunite, but an energetic current seeking closure. When a contract dissolves, fragments of energy can remain intertwined, and often it is the more aware soul that completes the release. That is why dreams linger, why you sense their sadness or regret, even as their ego pretends indifference. Once wrote that what is repressed in the unconscious returns as fate, and indeed the shadow they deny begins to surface in subtle ways within your awareness. You may encounter their presence in dreams, in music, or in the fleeting resemblance of a stranger's face, not to haunt you, but to reveal the consequences of denying one's own soul. Each time they suppress the connection, you may feel a quiet ache because your souls are still learning in the same classroom of growth. This ins feel like this experience can feel like spectral perception, the sensing of energetic residue. It does not mean you are irrational or summoning them back. It simply means the old energy has not fully cleared. When they resist awakening, the remaining vibration reverberates between you, and you are the first to notice it. It is like hearing a distant melody, familiar, bittersweet, tightening the heart. Manja. Without understanding this, the empath may fall into a karmic loop, believing they must rescue or heal them. Yet, that belief is what extends the contract. The universe does not ask you to save them, it asks you to release them. Only when both souls are freed from the invisible cord can the lesson truly close. On a deeper spiritual level, this entire process unfolds like a ritual of purification. Every tear, every ache, every memory surfacing is stagnant energy being cleared. Each dream of them is not a promise of reunion, but the final discharge between two souls who once shared a sacred agreement. Sometimes their soul, even as their ego runs in the opposite direction, will still appear in your dreams as a quiet farewell. You might see them standing in dim light, gazing at you, not to draw you back, but to silently acknowledge that their part in your story is complete. This is the moment when the empath must learn to remain steady amid surging waves of energy. No chasing, no reaching out, no hoping, no fearing, only observing. When you witness without reacting, you remove the final stream of energy that keeps the cord intact, and that is when it fades naturally. An energetic bond cannot be severed through anger. It dissolves only through awareness. Mendia. One day you will notice something extraordinary. You can no longer sense them, not because they disappeared, but because your vibration has risen beyond the level where they exist. In that instant, the shadow of the one who left stops haunting you. It transforms into a symbol, a testament to a soul strong enough to release, to love without possession, to walk away while still holding compassion. In that realization, the final contract melts away, not through dramatic closure, but through the full liberation of both souls. And as the cord gently dissolves and you begin to feel lighter and more at peace, an opposite process unfolds in their world. While you are being freed, they descend into the very void they once created for others. When a soul agreement is broken, suffering is not one-sided. The one who shatters, it carries the deeper consequence. Carl Jung wrote that no one escapes the darkness. Within the psyche, it simply waits for the moment to resurface. And that is what happens after they abandon what once sustained them. They may believe they escaped, that silence or betrayal proved their power. Yet the universe does not respond to words. It responds to frequency. By rejecting authentic love, they sever the lifeline that connected them to a genuine source of psychic reflection. At first, they may appear calm, even confident. You might see them smiling, starting a new relationship, behaving as if the past had little impact on them. This is often a way of coping. They feel a need to reassure others and themselves that they are unaffected. In psychological terms, this can look like overcompensation, where unresolved hurt is covered by outward confidence, but emotions that are ignored do not disappear. Over time, when distractions fade, unresolved feelings tend to surface. Bendir. One of the first changes happens internally. When you step back and withdraw your energy, they lose not only a partner, but also someone who reflected their strengths and struggles back to them. If their sense of identity depended heavily on external validation, it may begin to feel unstable. Restlessness can turn into emptiness, and emptiness into anxiety. They may quickly seek new connections, not necessarily from love, but from a desire to feel grounded again. Yet new relationships may not provide the same depth or familiarity. Psychologist Carl Jung describes similar experiences as periods of inner disorientation when a person feels unsettled after losing something that once anchored their sense of self. Sleep disturbances, irritability, or heightened sensitivity can follow. Manj. Even if they never openly admit feeling hurt, memories often return during quiet moments, late at night, during solitude, or in reflective moods. They may think about conversations you shared or moments of genuine connection. This doesn't always mean they want to come back. Sometimes it simply reflects unfinished emotional processing. If they notice that you are moving forward, stable, or even thriving, it may stir complicated feelings. For someone whose self-worth depends on control or validation, seeing you independent can feel unsettling. They might reach out again through apologies, nostalgia, or small gestures. Not always out of deep change, but sometimes to reconnect with what once felt familiar. Band. If you have grown and healed, you will likely sense the difference. Any attempt to re-enter your life becomes an opportunity for you to choose differently. So when you stay grounded and clear, their influence no longer has the same effect. In that space, they are left to reflect on themselves without distraction. Mander. On a deeper level, this reflects a universal psychological truth. Eventually, everyone must confront their own unresolved patterns. When you stop reacting, you stop reinforcing those patterns. Without someone else to focus on, a person is often left facing their own fears, insecurities, or regrets. They may replay old conversations, rethink past choices, or try to make sense of what happened. Over time, honest self-reflection can begin to replace defensiveness. From the outside, nothing dramatic may be visible, but internally, it can feel like a quiet reckoning. The confidence they once projected may soften as they question old behaviors and beliefs. The most difficult part is that real growth requires humility and change, both of which can feel uncomfortable. And so, if they may linger in uncertainty, sensing that something within needs to shift, Manda. This isn't about punishment or collapse. It's about personal responsibility and self-awareness. Growth often begins in private moments of discomfort. Whether they choose to reflect deeply or, or continue avoiding those feelings is their journey to navigate. Meanwhile, your path remains your own, shaped not by what they do next, but by the strength and clarity you've gained. Everything that once gave them a sense of vitality turns into mere performance. They express emotions, touch new people, speak beautiful words, yet there is no true heartbeat beneath any of it. Their energy begins to flicker because narcissists do not know how to create light from within. They survive by drawing energy from others. When you, their last authentic mirror, step away, they are like someone deprived of air, empty. At this stage, the consequence does not arrive from outside forces, but from within. Quiet voices begin to rise, memories long buried. The disappointment in your eyes, the final words you spoke before leaving, the feeling of being loved that they worked so hard to dismiss. Each memory slices through the layers of their carefully built mask. First comes anger, then denial. But over time, your silence becomes the loudest presence in their mind. They try to escape into distraction, new admirers, rushed romances, temporary thrills. Yet nothing reaches deep enough to replace the space your soul once filled. And because deep inside, they know you were the one who truly saw them, not the image they projected, but the hidden self they were afraid to face. That frightened them, yet it also bound them to you. And without your steady gaze, they feel unseen by the world itself. Then the energy begins to reverse. What they once planted, deception, control, contempt, starts reflecting back in their reality. Coworkers grow wary. Friends withdraw. A new partner grows distant. Secrets surface. This is not cosmic punishment. It is energetic mirroring. Distorted energy naturally returns to its source. The strategies that once gave them influence lose their effect, and the most unsettling part, no one fully believes them anymore. When the audience disappears, the performance collapses. The mirrors they relied upon shatter, and they are left facing only themselves. But in rare moments of clarity, they remember your light, but now it lives only in memory, unreachable. They begin to understand that what they lost was not merely a person, but an opportunity for redemption. Some continue denying until the end, repeating patterns, retelling stories where they remain the victim. Yet a small few when pressed to the edge of isolation, begin to hear their own soul calling. It is the moment when the mask no longer conceals, when pride dissolves into genuine tears, when the ego must bow before the emptiness it created. Now, not all reach this threshold. Many keep running, because facing their inner world is their deepest fear. They do not realize that a single moment of sincere humility, one honest acknowledgement of the love that once existed, could begin their freedom. But the contract has ended, and the lesson is no longer yours to carry. It becomes a struggle between them and their own shadow. And while they wander through corridors of guilt and confusion, you step through a doorway into spiritual freedom. Not because you triumphed, but because you completed your part. Your lesson was to forgive without returning, to love without attachment, and to recognize that sometimes the greatest act of compassion is allowing others to face the results of their choices. Every soul contract ultimately points toward awakening. Some awaken through light, others only through suffering. When they broke the bond, they were not truly betraying you. They were rejecting the light offered through you. From that moment, your paths divided. Yours rises upward. You no longer need revenge, validation, or proof. You do not have to wait for their awakening, because your soul has fulfilled its role. You loved with sincerity. You gave with honesty. You remained compassionate even when resentment would have been understandable. That is your strength. The love you offered has not vanished. It has transformed, returning as resilience, wisdom, and inner peace. On a deeper level, the universe uses the rupture as rebirth. Each tear becomes illumination. Every wound becomes a sacred mark of someone who walked through darkness without surrendering their light. Carl Jung called this individuation, the integration of ego and soul, the union of the human self with its deeper essence. Means for them, no matter how far they flee, they will eventually encounter themselves. No one escapes reflection. One day, standing before a mirror and feeling unfamiliar with their own face, they may remember your gaze, the gaze that judged nothing, only reflected truth. And perhaps, in that instant, the old contract will close entirely, and you who endured it all will realize that love was never about possession or attachment. It was the soul's return to itself. You did not lose someone, you rediscovered who you were always meant to be. As you move forward with an awakened heart, old agreements dissolve like morning mist, leaving only the clear light of a soul that has learned the sacred art of loving, releasing, and becoming the very light it once sought.